All right. Real quick, shout outs to Flotch. Oh no, I'm scared to read this. Just realizing the $5 coming in from Flotch. Oh, Zest, another Rex Scrub, aka Deer. What an upset. As I said, Rifkin, get ready for May 1st, part 2 of the anticipated Ace Loot Zest fanfic. Lucky for me, we're gonna be in Texas at a wedding, and I won't be here for that. At least for the Flotch aspect of it all. At any rate, thank you guys for joining us today. This is going to be the last possible series played out, so this is in fact the end of the cast as we get into this best of 3. This is a qualifier series. This is a qualifying match, and it's the last spot available for DreamHack France. Spawning on the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, it's going to be the Red Terran, Root Gaming's Kelazhur.
In the top right, as the Blue Zerg, it is iAsonu.
Okay, quick question for you, Zombie
What's up?
If based on name alone, so not personality, not playstyle, and certainly not race, based on their names alone, what type of dinosaur would each of these players be?
What the I want to say Kelazhur has a pretty cool, strong name, right? So he would be a T-Rex. iAsonu sounds kind of honestly more like, I don't know, like weak, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with some type of herbivore, like a long neck.
Go straight up land before time on this one, huh? What about the Bigfoots, the long necks, and the sharp teeth?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
So shake it up a bit.
Okay, well, you have to answer now too.
Well, you didn't ask me a question. But
you have to answer. Ditto. What's same question?
Ditto is a Pokemon. It's not a dinosaur. What the
kill
hell?
I'll kill you.
Actually, wasn't because Kelazhur's real name is Diego. Wasn't that like the saber-toothed tiger in Ice Age or something like that?
Yes, it was.
So there goes
good memory.
That's my answer right there. All right. I don't know. Kelazhur, I would see as more of like a raptor or something. I think, and iAsonu as like a pterodactyl. I don't know for names. I don't really have context or reasoning. You gave reasons. I just go with what seems right.
Oh, okay.
Gut
You go
feeling.
with your gut feeling, yeah, of course.
All right, so it's worth noting Kelazhur did take a faster third base this game. Now, he did this without really the best scouting from the Reaper. Like, this didn't get in and confirm that, oh my god, he's going for, like, fast roaches and anything like that. He just actually took a third base this game. So for Kelazhur's sake, he's, it's a little bit greedy, if we're going to be honest. It's not as greedy as it once was. Like, back in HOTS, if you took a third base early, you're screwed a lot of the time. But as you see out of his vision, he didn't even get back to the natural. So for Kelazhur, this is a little bit risque, but I don't think this is such a bad move. I'm in the favor of greed most of the time.
Well, Dusk Towers for certain.
Well, not just Dusk Towers. I mean, like, yeah, you've got the sort of safe natural and just take it easy third and fourth, but I really like, because Zerg and Protoss, you can argue greed can and can't be good for a lot of situations. I think greed is best for Terran every single time. The problem is it's super dangerous to do that as a Terran player. Your early game balance is so delicate.
Well, we have definitely seen in the last month 2 Baneling busts because the Zerg player is able to see like an early third on Dusk Towers, you know? So it can be very, very punished, but not gonna happen in this game for sure. There's no Baneling Nest. Actually, Roach 1 coming down for iAsonu, which I guess because we had the little hiccup of the awkwardness, plus we just cast another series. You have to remind you guys that we cast iAsonu versus Semper not like an hour ago, and he did the same thing every single game for the most part. You know, that third game he finally mixed it up and went for an aggressive Roach push, but even that was like kind of ill-timed. Like it never had a 2-2 before the game ended.
Yeah, and I mean,
but the other 2 games it was your Broodlords.
And the emphasis is like here we are in the losers bracket. Everyone's on their last chance. So if you're gonna do the exact same thing, I think Kelazhur of all people are gonna find ways around it. What I really like about Kelazhur is like we've got joke builds like, you know, the Kelagod build, the Help Out All In, and things like that. But he does have a lot of builds in his pocket. Like he's not a one-trick pony. If he recognizes what iAsanu's capable of, he'll probably adjust to it fairly quickly, I'd say.
It was something I was going to bring up back when we assumed that we were going to, you know, we were awkward position. Thought we were just gonna go into this right after. That Kelazhur, it's question is like he is a better Terran. Is he a different Terran than Semper in a good way against what iAsonu seems to be doing?
Yeah.
And I think that it's actually yes on all fronts, to be honest. Not that Semper's a bad player, and he certainly had like a lot of highlight games in Legacy of the Void, but Kelazhur has been on the up and up. I mean, it just seems like he would be able to, especially if he was looking at that game, something else to consider as he was waiting to actually adapt to what iAsonu was doing and win. But who knows? Maybe Kelazhur actually hates facing Roach Ravager to quick Brute Lords. Very specifically, I don't know. But to note, Semper was pretty drop heavy, a lot less on those main pushes, although he eventually did get to them like any good Terran would. Maybe Kelazhur plays a little bit differently. Actually focuses mostly on the main push to kill iAsonu before he can get to Broodlords.
The scan is a very big deal, by the way, seeing that infestation pit so quick. This is going to put him on a bit of alert now, because that could just be for infestors. Roach Ravager Infestor was so strong for a very long time in the game, but it does also signify there might be that faster Hive Tech. And if you're making purely Marines going into Hive Tech, you're going to lose out to Ultras. Shoutouts, by the way, to all the people in chat who contributed their own dinosaur answers, by the way. Loved it, but I also love the guy who pointed out that Ditto would be everything. And that's actually correct. Like, Ditto could actually just, I guess, mimic any dinosaur.
Ditto. So I wanna touch very small point on the whole, like, if he's going Marines against Ultras, he's in trouble. Absolutely true, but as he's been going for Broodlords, and I brought up earlier, did Kelazhur watch those games? Because what would be funny is if he did go for Mass Marauder thinking that it's going to be for Ultras, and then suddenly he was like stuck with no anti-air.
So interesting tournament fact as I was going over the rules more recently, right? Granted, I was doing it ironically, but there's a rule where players are not allowed to watch the streams, actually. Like, you can straight up be disqualified.
There?
Yes.
Okay, well, say that they know that rule. What about just talking to the person that lost? Like,
I would personally just log out of my Twitch account and turn the stream on.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever paid attention to that rule. That's so interesting that they try to put it in there.
Just don't get caught, man.
I think that might be less because they want to stop people from being.
I think they mean like you can't watch. Like, they don't want you watching the game you're currently playing. Like, they
exactly,
even
like,
if it's on a 5-minute delay or a 3-minute delay, they still don't want you knowing that there's a hidden base in the bottom right.
Exactly. Or this is just further rules out stream cheating, of course, as well. But it also might be because they want to punish, they don't want to punish people who are playing slower. But that's very interesting. Point is, he might have still known what was going on. We'll see. He does start a couple of drops, as opposed to that frontal push. Like I was talking about, Semper did kind of the same thing. So the creep spread is getting pretty far out, but it's actually Ultras. Like that Hive started. I didn't see a Spire with it. I was like, oh, I guess he's not going for Broodlords again. It
also didn't get scouted by these drops, which is a little bit disconcerting.
Well, the good news is that, just I thought there might be mind games with this, but I think it's actually like lack of mind games. Kelazhur was adding on Marauders after he saw the Invitation Pit and figured it was going to go to Hive. He figured it was going to go to Ultras, which most Zergs do, so well done, Kelazhur. It's just that iAsonu is actually changing his style for this game, for this map, maybe in particular, because he was going for Broodlords in those other games. So everything works out, basically. Kelazhur is getting the right composition.
All things considered, though, Kelazhur, despite trying to do these drops, really didn't do much damage. And because we are comparing it to the previous set for iAsonu, Semper was. Like, Semper was doing really good harass, and he forced out a lot of these awkward engagements early on. So that may be part of this. Like, iAsonu actually just got to chill his way to Ultras. But fight in the middle of the map should go in the favor here of Kelazhur. There's not quite the energy for Fungal, so there's no real big threat. We even have a Hellbat mixed into the army. Kind of cute to see with the one tank on the side. But
right?
No signs of ghosts, no signs of liberators, no signs that this is going to go in any way to deal with Ultras.
Yeah, I talked about the Marauders being the correct choice here because they are, like, first you're facing Roaches, and second, they can focus fire Ultras pretty well, especially in much higher numbers. But what about that next step? Is it going to be multiple Starvorts? Is it going to be a Ghost Academy? Because, if he had 90% Marauders, I'm all on board the sniping philosophy, just focus fire, but it's not. It's like, actually not that many Marauders really at all. And once plating finishes, this army could be destroyed by Fungal and Ultras.
That's a good pullback for these Fungals. Like, he's actually not been taking too much, like, eating any Fungals. He's been pulling back, like, pretty much immediately. Now, iAsonu's waiting for Kindness Plating to complete. This is actually a really smart move. If he goes in now, the Ultras will melt, but 2 seconds for finishing, finally done. Now he can take the engagement. He knows this as well, and these Ultras go from being scared to ferocious beasts. Now he is going to try and kite them down, but as we see, all the firepower of a full Terran army can barely touch 2 of these Ultras.
Corsair Bios did a lot of damage, actually. But that sim, like, he's been constantly simming to dodge those fungals, to sim into those hatcheries, so he's just been using a lot of his medevac energy for quite some time. The Ultras are down, though.
This is a really key component of those Marauders. Like, if he didn't have this many Marauders, there was no way he got through those Ultras. Now, this is not something that went well, and there's 5 more on the way, and it took an entire army to kill 4, right? Like, this is not a good situation for Kelazhur. That was a good end to that fight, but the follow-up's simply not here. I like that he picks up the tank, too. Like, just pulling back fully and entirely is probably his best bet at this point. Maybe do a little bit of drop harass, knowing that there's units running around the map, but this base left undefended. He can just unload right here in the mineral lines even. Yep! Professor gets picked off by the tank. Right now, iAsonu is a little bit of an awkward spot. He tries to go to the attack. He decides to come home. Then he goes to the attack again. Very, very indecisive. The planetary fortress can actually hold against what's here. The mineral lines are actually a little bit too hard for the Ultras to get behind. We've seen them bug out here. Yeah.
Oh, he can't fit. He can't fit.
He can just drop on each side of the mineral line over and over and over if he'd like. But he holds back at home. So Kelazhur ends up getting a really good trade out of what ended up being a very, I don't know, like leftover engagement.
Yeah. Kelazhur, by the way, he's upped his Marauder count. Like, he was producing 2 at a time, then it was 3, now at 4 at a time. He is just going to try and take, you know, good concaves, good kiting, good focus fire to deal with these Ultras, which could be problematic. Honestly, like, one bad fungal and your whole day is ruined, whereas, you know, if you had a lot of tanks, if you had a... Well, I guess ghosts and fungals could also be ruined. But if you had that extra element, then that maybe wouldn't happen, but just pure bio. Cleaning up creep now. That was a worry I had earlier on. It seemed to be getting pretty extreme, but nothing to actually take care of these medevacs. That is the that's the other problem for the Zerg right here is no anti-air. Yeah, the really late Spire also means you can't just pump out 6 Corruptors real quick. But the other side of the map, we got bigger problems, Zombie Girl. That's a lot of Ultras coming on the front line, so some get focused right away by tanks, so one gets a little bit low, but that Planetary is his best bet to hold this location. It's going to clear out most of the lings. It's going to soak up a lot of the Ultra hits. These Marauders are kind of nestled in the mineral line. There's a lot of focus on the Planetary, though, not so much the army. So, I feel like Kelazhur was like... I don't think... No, it doesn't... No, he's down way too much army. But Kelazhur was like, you know what? I took that fight with Bio. Like, I'm actually pretty good at this game. Like, I can do this. And then he was like, oh, wait, no, I can't. So he, like, tries to start building Liberators at the very end there. It's so tough to deal with Ultras. Now, I really want to stress, Marauders, they're not as good as they used to be. But in some rare situations, and when handled correctly, they can work. And fortunately, though, it's not usually the case. Yeah, we saw, like, Ryung, basically, and, like, one other Terran make mass Marauder look like maybe it's the new thing to do. And then that kind of died off. People are still trying to use Liberators or Ghost or both to deal with it. Well, next map, do we know the... I guess they hosted it, so we're probably fine with that. Yeah. Yes, they did. Well, IA is up 1-0 at the moment, but that could change depending heavily on the map as well. I guess we'll go to a small break, we'll get the lobby set up, and we'll see you guys soon for game number 2. Question mark? I guess basically when we come back from Austin, I have to really worry about donations, is what it comes down to. You were not here for what he did to me, okay? I've heard about it. Show us on the doll where he touched you, where he fanfictioned. Yeah, I feel like this is getting to that point. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 2 in this qualifying match. Again, emphasizing how big of a deal it is that one of these two will go here to the WCS Spring Championship. One of these two will play for DreamHack Tour. In the middle right side of the map, we have our red Terran player for Root Gaming. Cheer for him hard, guys. He needs it. It's Kelazhur. In the top left, middle left, it's the blue Zerg iAsonu. Damn it. Yo, I didn't have problems with this until you started having problems with this. Like, I legit was the one, like, mocking you when you would mess this up. But now, I can't. I just can't do it. You've ruined me. You've ruined me for all other maps.
All right, so spawn locations on this one can be a little bit awkward, and they are in this particular instance, and not because of where they spawned initially, but because of where these thirds end up going next door to one another. Now, I will say really quick, because of these spawn locations explicitly, I would certainly hope Kelazhur looks more towards something like Liberators this game, because Liberators with range can really make sure that iAsonu does not get a chance to use this base.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, we saw a very interesting game with Bunny. I don't remember who the Zerg was, unfortunately, but for Bunny in the Maturino Cup on Wednesday or something like that, Tuesday, something like that. He did a 2-base push against the Zerg, and it looked like originally it wasn't gonna. Oh, it was versus Hydra. That's who it was. It looked like it wasn't gonna do very well on this map, but then it really got into high gear. Just like the splits were good, and the close positioning from what was Bunny's natural to Hydra's third really worked out for a 2-base push. And if iAsonu takes his third where he usually should, you know, to the top, that is an opportunity for Kelazhur who breaks down the rocks and goes for a couple of tanks. Of course, iAsonu will be going for a different composition. Hydra went for Bling Bling, and iAsonu's been going for Roaches. But I still like the same idea could work out. It's like just kite them back into that little bit of a choke, and tanks will do great.
So there's a lot of debate going on in chat right now, and I really want to touch base on some facts. These are not opinions of mine, but these are instances where we've cast games or seen this happen firsthand ourselves. The dynamic of Ultras are interesting, and I was making a joke in chat, but I stand by it, where I really don't think Ultras are that broken with armor. It's that most units just suck against them. Now, of course, I'm not going to name names, but people are arguing back and forth who's what, with what, where, how do you counter. Thors, for example, are great versus Ultras. We actually saw Polt trying to make them work for a while. But Thors are garbage against literally anything else a Zerg player makes. You can make Mutas. They're supposed to be good against them. They're not. You can make Roaches, Zerglings. Like, anything screws up a Thor except an Ultra. Same with the Planetary Fortress, right? Like, it's ridiculous.
Oh,
so
they're so dumb. They're meant for each other.
Right, exactly. So then the arguments are like, what about Liberators? What about Ghosts? What about Widowmines? Et cetera, et cetera. And the problem is, not in this. There is never a 1v1 scenario where you're just dealing with Ultras. And if you are, then that Zerg player's bad, and the Ultras aren't the problem. So that's where a lot of these quote-unquote balance issues come into play. You watch top-tier players who have figured this out, though. You get players like Beyond, who made Ghosts like his thing really early on, and you can see exactly where that skill ceiling is for Terran. Now, we'll talk about what's going on in the game, because it's pretty dedicated. I'm sorry, I just really could not watch the ignorance in chat. It was pissing me off too much. This is something I think he might be able to hold. I just don't like Liberators or Widowmines for this. Unfortunately, those are all his only options.
He is going for the exact wrong builds to deal with this. If he had a tank on the way, well, then congratulations, you're like microing the tank. Yeah, even a medevac would help out better here, but it looks like he might be able to push this back, but he loses so many SCVs. I
love the engineering beta to stop any future links from coming in. Now, a lot of SCVs do go down, you're right, and the reason we don't like Widowmines for this, guys, is because Ravagers can deal with them so easily. Same with a Liberator. But with the Ravagers having been removed from the equation and mostly just Roaches and Lings, this is actually a much more viable situation. Oh, the engineering beta doesn't get canceled, though, and it straight up goes down.
He has nothing else now, though. Oh, wait, okay, sorry. He is the Liberator now, and luckily there are no Ravagers, so...
Can two mules carry him through this game? Because that's about all he's going to have, dropping 2 mules at a time.
He could. I think it could, actually. At 14 to 25, I think 2 mules could, but he's going to lose more SCVs, and that's where it's getting super questionable. Down below 10, not going to happen. He's not going to come back anymore.
No. I like this clever decision, though, the last second to actually move things around so that he can actually wall this off. Liberator can then cover this up as well, but you're right. This might be too many SCVs lost. I will give Kelazhur the benefit of the doubt, though. He is one of the few Terran I could see coming back from this spot. Maybe catching IA a little off guard, but truth be told, the odds are not in his favor.
No. I could, once again, if there's a medevac out, but that would have solved a lot of problems. But it's not here. It's not going to provide that opportunity to counter and kill just drone here, drone there, and catch up. It's going to be a Liberator, which honestly, once it's scouted, although that was terrible targeting. Once it's scouted, can be dealt with very easily. A good Spore Crawler positioning, just having Ravagers in general, and the Liberator should not get more than a couple of kills. Much different than the potential of a godly microed medevac with Marines.
I mean, there's no doubt that that's the answer, and I think Kelazhur knows that too, so he's kind of heading that direction now. But this, as stated before, just may have done too much damage.
Yeah, I do believe it has, which is too bad. Like, he was right before those Lings got on top of those SUVs. If he hadn't pulled the SUVs, if they could have maybe run around for some time, I think at like 15 SUVs with 2 mules, there's something to be done there. Because iAsonu did cut workers very early, although he's certainly replenishing them now. But then the SUVs did end up dying at the last second, so it's quite a tough game. He does have stim, which is very odd. Usually a drop at this time would not.
Yeah, this will actually help him with maybe trying to pay back some damage. The problem is, though, I believe IA is going to see this with... Did he actually miss it with both Lings? Wow. No, I guess maybe he saw it? No, he's guessing.
He's just patrolling. I mean, it's a good guess. This is the one way that Terrans will come back, but even with stim, you should not have taken that engagement. It's been an instant pickup. The combat shields will help out a little bit as well. And if he had a second drop, especially, I could see him, do that godly Super Saiyan micro that Terrans can pull out of a hat, basically, when they know they're about to die. But only the one medevac and one liberator that, you know what? Doesn't actually have a counter in the main right now. Just a queen.
Yeah. Well, there's the positioning, though, that's a little bit different. With the area to walk around the backside, it's harder for that liberator to get in a spot that can't be dealt with. Queen should be able to whittle around on the side, but he's busy looking at the drop, so while this isn't doing damage, it is forcing iAsonu to look this way, and Kelazhur just drive off the entire mineral line from mining.
So it's 4 workers down. It is a slow process, but if you can consistently get 4 workers with the drop and the liberator,
I like this.
The liberator, it could be a comeback.
If you can't kill drones, you can kill larvae, and you can stop production. That queen's gonna try and run through this. Of course, this will actually be enough because the queen provides just that little bit of extra damage. Normally takes 3 shots from a Ravager.
Gets 7 workers and a couple of larvae as well, but is pretty quickly replaced. The medevac's still alive.
I wish this was BaseTradeTV Crafts mod, not WCS. We can actually watch Kelazhur kind of rise back from that income. I mean, a lot of this was driving the mining off of the main base, but he's also had those mules going. He's up to 27 workers. The army supply difference is not that bad, but it is going to be upgrades in favor of iAsonu. So unless Kelazhur can take advantage of things like siege tanks, like liberators for defensive fights, he's not going to be able to take like brute force versus brute force. In fact, taking this command center, that's
oh wow, why? Just building on location, damn. Unfortunately, Kelazhur did send his medevacs over a Ling, which I really commend iAsonu for bothering to put scouting Lings and Overlords to the bottom side. So he did notice this, just barely. It's also could just take all his Alnagas and probably have really good vision.
Oh, the medevac!
Okay, the queen was target firing.
The shop in the main there should be able to deal with the Ravagers. He's got stim, so he just walks over to the side. +1 carapace isn't done yet. It's only the weapon upgrade, so not this many Ravagers, but this draws the army away. Drops into the natural. This medevac finally goes down. Kelazhur has done a great job distracting, but we're kind of getting to this point now where he's losing that momentum for the harass. He's going to eventually run out of juice, and once iAsonu doesn't have to look at home and he can start looking towards attacking, that's where this gets scary. I mean, the rocks, they had to stop breaking them down, so the third base actually gets up. That's what these drops do while this goes on. But the second he stops dropping, the second he stops with Liberator harass, that's when iAsonu says, okay, I'll go back to finishing the rocks, kill the third, push back the natural. That's when this gets worse and worse for Kelazhur. It kind of sucks for me because I would love to have seen how this went on a more even game. Because Kelazhur has been playing this, maybe it was desperation that caused him to play so well, but he's been playing it really well. It's just not enough still.
Just so close to getting that one surprise drop, or the one surprise liberator that would bring it back in the game, and they're just never quite getting it. iAsonu being very bold and a little cheeky going for that gold base in the middle of the map, but he does have a lot of momentum. Well, not momentum. He knows he's in a lead, so, I mean, even if Kelazhur took the time to go into the middle of the map and clean that up, that would suddenly be, iAsonu going to his third and cleaning up his CC, which is definitely more important for Kelazhur at this point. He's still down quite a few workers, of course, down in upgrades as well, although he's getting to that point. He just needs a few more workers where it's like, okay, I have consistent production. I can start building tanks as well, not just all Marines, but he's not quite there yet. And his drops are something that he's really depending on to continue keeping a portion of the army back at home.
The medevac's trying to dance around what it can, but one medevac can only do so much. That tank is going to go down. GG. Good luck in tours. I like the manner out of Kelazhur as he ends the series, but we're going to have another Chinese player qualify through. And congratulations to iAsonu.
Yeah, yeah. I thought Kelazhur was actually going to put up an even better fight than Semper, but just not comfortable, I suppose, against that style of play.
Yeah,
last series.
I'm 100% on board saying that I thought Kelazhur was going to take this. Losing 2-0, a little bit disappointing to see, but we wish iAsonu the best of luck nonetheless, and thank Kelazhur and everyone else for playing and coming out to these qualifiers. It was 2 days of extensive coverage, but it finally comes to an end. So thank you guys for joining us on this Saturday. I hope you're going to have a good weekend after this. Tomorrow, we're going to be back with a Matcherino Cup, though. So that's going to be a little bit of extra money for players. Anyone can sign up for that. So if you're even just like an amateurish player and you'd like to come play, by all means, please do. But that is going to wrap things up for us. So, not a lot to really talk. The Ting of the Hill thing was announced. That's made it to Reddit. Everyone's now fully aware that Neve is sponsored by Ting. By the way, just want to point out there, guys, like, I'm not touching base on the drama, but there's a stigma that goes around that, like, what does BaseTradeTV even do? Like, they just casting capitalize everything. All these comments made, whatever. But the thing I want to point out, though, is, like, we really brought Ting back to StarCraft. We got Chairs for Gaming involved with many different people now. I'm glad to see that, too. And Corsair's started to reach out more through us to make contacts to other people like Maximus Black and some others I can't mention because there's no contract signed yet. But, like, so much frustration for me comes, like, I think a lot of people forget how much of the behind-the-scenes stuff we do. And things like Matcherino would not be in StarCraft if we didn't try and bring them in further. Through that, they've spread to ASL. They got Naniwa Maru involved with some show matches, other things like this. And this, like, stigma of, like, BaseTradeTV having a casting monopoly, we make things so we can cast them. We're not taking over other people's events. Like, we're the one bringing in a lot of this stuff. So I have no comments on anything directly that happened yesterday because I voiced my opinion and I just really actually don't care because it's such an insignificantly unimportant thing that happened with another person that I feel the same way about. But the thing that bothers me is, like, this is something that's happened since before and will probably still continue, or people, like, think we're like stealing the scene, like that we somehow, like, weaseled our way into these DreamHack qualifiers to be the mainstream. The last qualifiers last weekend, we weren't even the mainstream for. We were second. We got kicked out of games. Like, with Matcherino coming up tomorrow and everything else we do, I just want to remind you guys, a lot of what we cast is what we make. And BaseTradeTV does what it can to bring more to StarCraft. And I don't really have any strong opinions outside of that. It's just, I want to remind everybody that that's how it is. Those are the facts. Those aren't the feelings. But that being said, thanks to our wonderful sponsors, we can make things like this happen. So shout-outs to G2A. Check them out down there in the section below. Scroll down into our info section to look up the Corsair Gear. We're using headsets. I'm using a mouse. My keyboard's currently broken. Gotta get a new one soon. Chairs for Gaming, just mentioned them moments ago. You can buy a DX Racer anywhere in North America. Use promo code BaseTradeTV. You'll get $20 off your purchase and free shipping and handling. And last but not least, Yord. Actually, I'm really excited. We finally get to do our Yord tournament when we come back from DreamHack. It's taken way too long to get spare time to do this. And we have a lot of other really cool stuff that can't be announced. More awesome stuff on the way. So thank you guys for watching. Follow the channel if you haven't already. Zomgrub, any final words? Any final comments before we go?
I think you summed that up all pretty well. But you can follow me on Twitter at CGGaming and on Twitch, ZombieGrub.
Cool. And yeah, for me, follow Riff_Kings on Twitter. And last but not least, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. After today, we're going to put our VODs back behind the paywall, but you can find all of our videos for free on YouTube, high definition, all that good stuff. And Nice Username has been making sure to update them almost like same day that we're casting. So they're up pretty quick. So yeah, I guess link the Matcherino thing. We've got that in chat. What's the code for that? Is it going to be BTTV4?
No, that was the last one.
Oh, so I guess this would be 5. Yeah.
So probably going to be 5. I'll have to make sure you remember.
I'm not even going to advertise it now because you know what? We filled it up in 3 minutes. We made 100. We got the players a $100 extra last time just by mentioning it on stream. So we'll save that for now. But yeah, make sure to come back tomorrow, guys. Have a good one. Take care. We're going to find somebody to host. And I'm excited for tomorrow. So, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, wait. Sorry, one last thing before we go. Did I miss any donations? Because Twitch Alerts has been on the fritz, so I want to make sure we didn't lose anything before we go. No, just a couple of shout-outs to recent subs. So, thank you, Healer again, Chef Hefe84 for the 9-month resub, and Master Tom NL. All right, now we're out. Later, guys.